Hey guys, Dan Heilman back with another video. Today we're going to be talking about a little bit of a price recovery here. We will have some data coming out today, I believe. I don't know what data is coming out and what's not. They sometimes are not posting any of the economic data because of, I don't know, they're hiding a recession or something's going on. But we might get some data in 2 hours for retail sales and PPI. So this will be a good metric of, if we're coming into a recession, which I still kind of think we are. One thing I haven't looked in a while is the trueflation data. So trueflation has been coming up, and then now looks like there is sort of a peak about November 3rd, and then we're still coming down. So overall this is a Oh, they changed it. Now you can't even do that now without paying for it? Like for real? Upgrade? Oh my God. Okay. Anyways, so it is a lower high potentially. So we could see this, we had December 2024. Maybe this is a lower high and it will roll back over and come back down. So that will be interesting. Can I even use any of these? No, I can't. Okay. So they made this all pay for. Okay. That's a big rip. Okay. Anyways, that's a big rip for trueflation. But yeah, so inflation is still a little bit higher above the 2% target, but if this comes back down, then we'll see it come back down to 2. The chance of a Fed cut is already, I talked this Fed cut chance. I just talked about this yesterday, but now we're back up in the pretty much getting a cut. Let me just check. Oh yeah, it's 80% now. So definitely looks like we're getting a cut. Anything above like 75, 80% is like pretty much guaranteed. And you can look at some of the different yield rates as well to kind of estimate if we're going to get a cut or not. If we do look at yields just really quick, 10-year yield and 2-year yield are coming down. So yeah, we'll see what happens here. Now, another thing is like if you do like the 10-year minus the 2-year, this is like a good recession indicator. And it does look like we are kind of accelerating into this. So this usually means that, we're coming into a recession. That's like really dirty with all that, all those trading indicators on it. But if if you see something like this, that does kind of look like it. So if you go below this 0 and then back up, and that usually kind of says we're going to come into a recession. And pretty much what the recession pretty much hits once we start like turning down really. So that could be like right now. So this looks like not quite good for a recession. So again, we're trying to like thread the needle here with getting out of this cycle alive. The potential top is a much higher probability now that the top was about 126,000 for Bitcoin. So as I've mentioned multiple times, I will be taking some of my profits off the table once we kind of come back up in this area. I'll take a small percentage of all my positions, probably about 100K-ish, and then maybe another percentage. So I'll be about 50% out of the market, maybe around the bull market support band. And then if we get rejected here and come back, I will maybe take another 25%, leaving a 25% moon bag just in case the top's not in. But I will be starting to close some of my positions because it's just not looking that great. It's just not looking that great. Now, I will say we will probably get a big move up from here because, even from this to this is quite a big move. Relative 34%, right? Because we already down like, we are already down about... Come on, let me click. I don't want to click the line. I want to, I'm hitting, that's why I'm hitting control, not shift. We're down 36%. So that's kind of a big drop for Bitcoin. A lot of altcoins, obviously. Solana got just destroyed 52%. Stuff like ENA is down like 70 something percent, right? Yeah, 75%. So, who knows? Maybe the bear market's pretty much over at this point. Another kind of interesting scenario I was just kind of thinking about in my head the other day was, what if it's like really, we're like in the bear market since, I don't know, December 2024. It'd be kind of a funny take, right? But it seems like pretty much everything has been topped. And we're down 50% since then. We did kind of have basically a double top. This is total market excluding Bitcoin, ETH, and stables. So this is called total 3ES. This is a good one. I don't know. There's, some interesting... I don't know, kind of like theories here that maybe we just had like a bear market. I saw someone post this on X and it's just kind of an interesting thought because bear markets are usually about a year and this is December 2024 and now we're in December 2025 and that's been about a year. And it's kind of funny, like for the total market, we did make a higher high, but it was a marginal higher high. I mean, for my portfolio, the top was probably, yeah, around December 2024, which is kind of funny. You know, I did add down here, so that's the only reason my portfolio got bigger up here. But in terms of like prices on a lot of stuff, I mean, I guess it's mostly altcoins, but if you go to like Solana, I mean, yeah, look, the top was over here in the Trump rug pull. Over here, we hit about $300 for Solana, and now we're at 130. So quite a big correction for stuff like Solana. Again, let me clean up the chart because it's kind of dirty here. But yeah, so you know, that's quite a big pullback. I mean, this one especially, this was a massive pullback. What is that? 70% pullback on Solana, which is quite insane, to be honest. So now we're, you know, well below the moving averages on a lot of coins. Fartcoin doing very well. So of course it hit my stop loss, right about, like pretty much right at the bottom. I think I had my stop loss at like 0.19 or 0.2. Hit my stop loss, turned around, came rocketing right back out of there. Of course, sounds about right. So Fartcoin has come back a lot, up 68% since the bottom. Damn. I do have some spot left, but ENA just got destroyed as well. This one has just been so down. I mean, there's a low confidence Camel Finance indicator saying the cycle bottom is in. Interesting. So that's a big pullback, man. That's 75% just destroyed. So a lot of these coins, even ZEC is coming down a little bit. I had a very nice leverage trade. I opened right about in here. I took my profits right about, I actually took them on this first wick 80%, and then I left 20% to go at break even, and it just closed you know, break even, but it was a nice couple $100 real quick there. So I do still have some leverage trades open on Bitunix. I have an affiliate link below if you want to try it. It's an amazing exchange. Feel free to use that. I can't show you. I'll just show you my entries. I always put my entries in blue here. So I entered a small position this morning, about 87,000, and there is some liquidity down about 86,300. So I'm going to open another long. I think we'll probably sweep liquidity. If I just show you the liquidity heat map real quick, you can see what I'm talking about. But there's some liquidity down there, about 80, what did I say, 86,300. There's also, I think did the CME gap get fully closed? Let me check on that before I go look at liquidity real quick. Did the CME gap get fully closed? So we had the gap, yeah, it got fully closed, like perfectly to to the dollar. It's funny how that works for the CME gap, right? So here's Friday. We left this CME gap from here basically all the way to here, about a 3% gap, right? So if I draw a little box here, I'll show you what I'm talking about. We had this, that's not a box. That's not a box. What are you doing here? That's a box. So if we draw from like here to about here, that was our gap. And then we came literally right down to like the dollar and filled that, because a lot of people put their orders there. And there you go. So we filled that gap and then moved back up. So that's always a nice trade if you want to do some like real short-term trades. Again, affiliate link for Bitunix, amazing exchange, very low fees, easy to sign up. Use that, best way to support the channel. But so that's what we got going on there. Let's talk about the heat map now. Again, there's some big liquidations right around 86,300. So I have another order there. I have a feeling when the market opens, we come down and sweep that. Now, another kind of confluence thing with the short-term bottom being in is this X cross indicator. I've been trying out a new indicator, and it's called X cross, and it printed a buy signal. And now I like to use this in combination with my trading signal from Camel Finance, which also shows bottoms. Interesting. So on Binance, it shows the bottom going to be coming in the next like little bit here, but on Bitstamp, it shows the bottom was going to be in here, but now there's like a big blue bar saying the weekly bottom is going to be somewhere in this area. It has not confirmed it yet. I think it's waiting for a little bit higher price action, but I've marked the liquidity on the chart here. I mean, so we could even come back and sweep the low. That's definitely a possibility. I think how people interpret this might determine that, but a lot of things, you know, the cycles might be in charge, and it's really just, you know, they'll assign a narrative to it after the fact is what a lot of people say. But anyways, if we come down and sweep this, maybe even sweep this low down here about 83. I mean, we could come into like the 79-ish, but we don't have to. We don't have to. And then I think we at least come up into one of these, you know, a couple of these moving averages. This orange one usually is a good bounce target. And then, as I said, I'm going to be lowering my risk on a lot of these because potentially the top is in, and we could be moving towards a bear market that will bottom about October of 2026. So I want to have plenty of cash available in the event that the top is in, we go into a recession and this comes down. Now, it's not guaranteed, but in the 4-year cycles, this has happened many times. So again, I predicted the top date almost exactly, but my price target was way off. So I didn't take a lot of profits. I did close probably 25% of my Bitcoin position and maybe 30% of my Ethereum position, pretty close to the top. So I'm pretty happy with that. But a lot of my other altcoins, I was kind of waiting for them to get some moves. I think everyone's been waiting on altcoins for a while, and they just have not been doing very good. So yeah, that's been kind of interesting here. So if we go back to the weekly here, and what happened here? What happened here to my? Oh, there we go. So yeah, I don't know. It's kind of depressing for sure. Now maybe I didn't draw these lines very accurate or something, but that's what I was expecting to happen here. Oh, here's the one I'm looking for. That's what I was expecting to happen. And again, I'm expecting the bottom to be somewhere between 68 grand and 48 grand. Again, about October 2026. So this has been right spot on. It's just the only thing is, we didn't hit any of these targets. Now, maybe I just didn't draw this red line here very accurately. So if we grab this boy right here, I don't know, maybe if we just tweak this a little bit here. So if we can draw this down to touch that, I mean, it still didn't get anywhere near it, right? So even if we draw it kind of something like this, and then maybe we raise this one up to kind of be a little bit lower or something like that. That one's locked. That's okay. I don't know. I just really don't know. It's just kind of interesting because, we didn't get anywhere near this price target. Now, of course, we have diminishing returns, but that's why using this log chart kind of helps. And we did, unfortunately, see this big bearish divergence very quickly. We didn't see it that much. We saw a little bit of a bearish divergence in 2021, but the top was just much more vertical. And I think that's that has thrown off a lot of people is we haven't had the normal FOMO vertical top. Some people saying, oh, it's a business cycle and, we're going to be bottoming soon and it could turn into a 5-year cycle, which could totally happen. I mean, history doesn't always perfectly repeat, but usually it's been pretty good. So I don't know. It's kind of just interesting that the top was exactly when I thought it would be. It's just nowhere near the price I thought it would be, right? So even if we were, thinking with this new one right here, I mean 186, we didn't even get close. So I don't know, maybe we got one final spike out of here. We could still hit a higher high. We could still sweep it. We could come up for some blow off top if something crazy happens. I don't know, there's a bunch of rumors going on with all sorts of different things with MicroStrategy and all sorts, but again, we're near the bottom. So the normal FUD is very normal here. But I did want to show this indicator, the cross-X did the buy. And I wanted to show that kind of what he said here, which is interesting. This is a guy who, I don't have any affiliation with this guy at all, but I was just trying out this indicator because it looked like it did pretty well. But he's saying after the sell signal that he did below about 105K, it's been a 20% drop. Now we've got a buy signal. In reality, this buy signal says it's time to take profits. And this kind of also confirms my bias because I did say that if we're closing the weekly below the 50 week that I'm going to start closing my positions because the bull market is most likely over. But I also feel like a lot of people have been watching that and maybe it's kind of like, I don't know, even a self-fulfilling prophecy, or maybe market makers just want us to think it's over and now they're going to pump it back up. That's another theory. So, I mean, it's really hard to say what's going to happen. So that's why I'm going to reduce my risk. I'm going to take some of my profits. He's saying, so I would personally trade this setup with very low risk. My upside is maybe 93 to 105K. So target 1, target 2. So I don't know. We'll see. Again, as I said, we'll start closing some of my position. And there you go. So, some people said price is below downward sloping cloud, which means it is a temporary bounce in a bear trend. Best way to trade this is to wait for the next sell signal to short. And then when the bear trend resumes. And he said, indicates that you're an expert among cross-X. So I don't know. It's interesting. There's a lot of now. There's a lot of evidence now for the cycle top being in, and again, we could go to new highs, but it's most likely that we'll have a lower high here, which is unfortunate. I thought we were going to do a lot better. Altcoins just underperformed as always this cycle. I've been in. This is like my third cycle. I've been in crypto and trading crypto since like 2017-ish. And altcoins have basically always underperformed, but this one was especially bad for altcoins. I mean, especially bad if we look at like Bitcoin dominance. You know, normally if we go into like the weekly, or yeah, we'll just go to the weekly here. Normally when you get these big altcoin seasons, in 2017 we had one, and then in 2021 we had one. Maybe we're just not there yet. I mean, Bitcoin dominance does look like it's trying to break down a little bit, but I don't know. I just don't know if we have the liquidity, maybe the money printing and all this. I do see a lot of people saying the altcoin season is still coming, and maybe it is. Maybe it is. But if you look at like where Bitcoin topped previously, let's see, Bitcoin. Let's just add this here. Oops, I meant to hit add. Okay, so add Bitcoin, and here we'll just do new price scale. So normally you can see that Bitcoin kind of topped out. I guess it did top out around here. So I guess we could get this same thing as 2021 right here, because look at this dropped, Bitcoin dominance dropped. It kind of does look similar. So we could actually see Bitcoin sweep the high, but that would be another couple months if it plays out like 2021. That'd be another 220 days. Oh my God. What time is that even? 220 days. That would be like, yeah, see, that'd be like March 2026. So or March, no, it'd be like May 2026 for another top for Bitcoin. I don't know. I don't know that that's likely, because then that would push the bear market out another year. Maybe that's true. Maybe that does kind of rhyme with the 5-year cycle that a lot of people are talking about. I mean, I just am really unsure at this point. That's why we're reducing our risk. We're playing the probabilities. If we get a bounce, we'll take some of the risk off the table, and then we'll hold the rest just in case we do get some of these 5-year cycles here. I'm not going to sell everything I own for sure, but I'm going to manage my risk. I do think we have a short-term opportunity here for sure, because I think we will get a big move up, you know, maybe even up into this area right here. That's still a 23% move on Bitcoin, but some of these other ones like Solana, for example, you know, there's a 30%, 36%. We got, you know, 30% on Litecoin. Yeah. It says breaking resistance, but then it goes back up. Interesting. Yeah, that's what we got going on. So it's not a very sure video, but if people are telling you they're sure what's going to happen, they're wrong. I'll tell you that right now. I mean, there's a lot of people that are like, I am sure that we're going to a new all-time high. I'm sure that, you know, we've entered the bear market. I think there's probabilities for both. That's why, again, I'm going to reduce my risk and kind of play the probabilities. We'll close some of our positions just in case the bear market's here, and we'll hold some of our positions just in case we do go to new all-time highs. That's it for the video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, hit the like, hit the subscribe button. Have a great day, everyone. See you guys.